This article is about the idea of the spiritual world being considered in some ways like a fourth dimension. Not to say that that is what is going on with the spiritual world, but it is an opportunity to explore how an extra dimension might have a certain effect upon the reality that we see today, and how that may be difficult for us who are only in three dimensions to perceive it. So to do that, I kind of go down one dimension and suggest, if we were two-dimensional objects, what would a third dimension look like to us? And it's interesting, some of the characteristics that a two-dimensional world would see with the impact of a third dimension look very similar to what we would see in the interactions between the spiritual world and our world. For starters, if let's say the third dimensional character in our two-dimensional world was the artist, we as the artwork, as it were, would see his interactions in our world as being miraculous. They appear, and we can't see how they appear. All we can see is the appearance of the miracles. Likewise, if the artist wanted to communicate directly to us, he would have to do so by inhabiting the two-dimensional world, as it were, and speak to us in the two dimensions. And it's a bit like the incarnation. Jesus comes down, inhabits a material body, and speaks to us in the material world. These are analogies, and I'm not wanting to push them too far, but I thought it was a useful way of understanding the interactions. And of course, demonic powers can have the same effect, and I list at the end of the article all the references that all the references, but some of the references we find in Scripture to spiritual realities impacting the material world, whether they be God's interactions or demonic interactions. I always think C.S. Lewis is very good on this, because in his book, The Great Divorce, he has the spiritual world as being solid, like diamond, and we are the ghosts, the material world, because in reality, the spiritual world has much more substance and power than the material world, and that's always how the Bible reflects it. Okay, thank you for listening.